Hi, my name is Nicole, and I've had an abortion. And um, I just wanted to say hello to everyone watching and to give everyone a reminder about the House Bill 2354. It's a very important bill that gives women options and choices, and we just really need people to support that bill. But moving on, this is my guest, Ray Wright from the Chicago Women's Health Center. She is a board member there. Would you like to tell us something about the Chicago Women's Health Center?
Well, thank you, Nicole, for introducing me. Again, my name is Ray Wright, and I'm a board member of the Chicago Women's Health Center. And we're the oldest feminist modified health collective in the country. And I'm going to give you a little background about the health center and what we do and why it's important for the Chicago Abortion Fund and the Chicago Women's Health Center to fight for legislation like HB 2354 or the Reproductive Health and Access Act. Well, a little history. From 1968 to 1972, there was an underground feminist collective called the Jane Project, and many organizations sprang out of this project. Ultimately, over that 4-year time frame, lay health workers performed approximately 11,000 abortions in Chicago. And in 1972, several Jane members were arrested for the work that they were doing, but in light of Roe versus Wade, the charges were dropped, and they used their legal fund to found the Emma Golden Health Collective, and it was a feminist health collective founded in 1974, and it was located in Rogers Park. During the summer of 1975, 12 women left that collective to start their own collective, and that's the Chicago Women's Health Center. I'm going to do a few highlights about our history, and then we can go for it. Okay. In 1977, we started the Home Birth Project with Dr. Dana Bryant, and this was a very revolutionary way of women taking a stance and being involved in their own birthing process. In 1978, the collective members started teaching classes at Columbia College regarding women's health and access to opportunities. And then in 1980, we, in conjunction with our alternative insemination program, began a fertility awareness course. Then also, in 1988, our outreach and education program began. I'll finish the highlights, but I believe we have a caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned a bill at the beginning of the program. Is that something that I would call my alderman or like my state senator? Do you know who I would actually address to try to help with that?
Actually, you would call your state House representative rep. The bill is currently in the House. The State House, and so you can access more information about your specific legislator at illinoisreproductivehealth.org, and you can find out exactly who that House rep is and express your support for this legislation.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Go ahead.
And I have more highlights about the wonderful work we do at the Chicago Women's Health Center. And in 1983, we had our first educational session about AIDS. And this was when Chicago only had 31 reported cases of AIDS in the city of Chicago. And then, in 1990, talking about collaborative efforts, in 1990, the Illinois Caucus for Adolescent Health and Planned Parenthood, in conjunction with the Chicago Women's Health Center, garnered a $150,000 grant from the MacArthur Foundation to start a women's education program dedicated to educating women about their health and reproductive justice. And then, of course, moving along in the 90s, in 1995, we had our 20th anniversary. And shortly thereafter, we renovated our store front location where we are accessible for anyone who would like to come and get services. And then coming up into the 21st century, in 2005, we began our board committee, and that is one of the many committees that function within our collective. We are a collective, a feminist collective, and so we have a circular way of governing, and so everyone that's a part of the collective has equal say in how it's run, and how we help women access services. Not only do we have direct service, which includes preventative gynecology and advanced gynecology. We have counseling services. We have alternative insemination, and we also have an acupuncture program that's very new, and outreach and education, where we go and do outreach in the schools and community around access and education.
Oh, that's very good. Well, where would our viewers be able to get in contact with the Chicago Women's Health Center to access these services?
Well, great. As a matter of fact, we provide services on a sliding scale, so no one is turned away based on their ability to pay. And they can call Chicago Women's Health Center at 773-935-6126 to learn more about the work that we do and to set up an appointment if necessary.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to ask you, what do you think the significance is in organizations like the Chicago Women's Health Center and the Chicago Abortion Fund working together for reproductive justice and health and access?
Great. Well, I definitely think it's important that we as a movement mobilize and act together, especially since in Chicago we have a very unique history, since both of our organizations came out of the Jane Project. And that was very controversial, but very important project that occurred and helped pave the way for Roe versus Wade. And so I think it's very important for us to collaborate, not only collaborate, but to educate our communities about these pressing issues related to our reproductive health. And with the Reproductive Health and Access Act, it's even more imperative that in Illinois we provide a continuum of choices for women to access.
Oh, that was so I also had one more question, because when I was reading about the Jane Project, and I came across that it was underground abortion feminists, and that they performed illegally or assisted in 12,000 abortions, and that is a really high rate of illegal abortions. And I myself think that that is one of the reasons why we need organizations like the Chicago Abortion Fund or the Chicago Women's Health Center. And I just want to know, what was your take on that when you found out that information?
Oh, I thought it was very significant. That's why Roe versus Wade needed to be passed, because women needed access to resources so they could make sure that they had medically accurate and services that were widely available to anyone based on their needs and their choices regarding their health. And so